victim of its own silo mentality. Its outcome reflects a narrow vision which failed to accept and to welcome and to acknowledge opposing points of view. Removing Confederate monuments is the only way for us to challenge the false white supremacist narrative that they promote. They must be removed, not contextualized. Our position remains clear. We say, take them down, Jacks. Say it again. Take them down, Jacks. Take them down. Take them down, Jacks. Take them down, Jacks. Take them down, Jacks. We want to be clear that this unofficial committee met in private. They failed to publicly notice their meetings. They failed to take public comment. We think that there's an ethics question that should be investigated by the media. That's right. It was slipshod, it was slimy, it was behind everybody's back. Where's Carla Miller when I need her? This unofficial committee, its mission, its formation, and its method of operation failed to pass the smell test. I think they violated ethics ordinances, and certainly they failed to live up to the letter and the spirit of government and the Sunshine Laws. We say it's time for the mayor to stand by his word, to let his word be his bond. We say, take him down, Jacks. Take him down, Jacks. Take him down, Jacks. Take him down, Jacks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Our next speaker is Wendy Collins. She's been working with Take 'em Down and other organizations for some time. She is always there and always doing what is right. Wendy?
First, I want to say my name is Wendy Payne Collins because I am a member of this community, have been since I was 9 years old. And people that may watch this, that's how they will know me, is by my maiden name, Payne. I went to Dinsmore, I went to Highlands, I went to Paxson, I went to Stillwell. So I'm speaking to those people and the other people that actually look like me, the other women that look like me. I am a white woman of privilege, not because I come from money, but because the color of my skin. And I'm here to talk about, as a white woman of privilege, that I want to talk about the truth of the statue that actually is in Springfield, what is still known as Confederate Park, and we're still waiting for it to actually have a sign called Springfield Park and remove that name because it does not represent this community. The Women of the Southland statue does not stand for what I stand for. It does not stand for what most of this community stands for.
All right.
So the history behind that was that in 1920s, the sons of the Confederacy put that statue up to honor their mothers, the daughters of the Confederacy, the daughters of the Confederate soldiers that committed treason against this country. They had just as much to lose, and as they say, no hell hath as the woman scorned. And those white plantation women, they actually owned slaves. They actually brought them from the day that they actually were born. Their fathers gave it to them in their dowries. That was their power in a patriarchy system where they had no power otherwise. They were the ones who lost the most because they lost their slaves. They were very unhappy about that. And they were more vicious than actually probably the men of the day. They were the ones that were there all the times on the plantations. You took away their free workers. The women had people that took care of their kids. They didn't have to actually feed the kids of possibly the men who they were forced to marry and have kids from. More or less the same ideal of being raped by their husbands. So they didn't want to feed those kids, so they made the slaves that they actually had do that. They also wanted to make sure that they kept their slaves. So they would actually allow their husbands, and I say allow, but when they didn't want to have to sleep with those men, they had no problem with them going and raping the slave women, so they would stay off of them. Not to mention the fact that just gave them more property by the children that was born by these slave women. So, that statute does not represent protecting women, as was stated on the working group's document. Keeping it there would only further traumatize women of all colors, minorities, black people that are actually in this country now, that are actually from free slaves, and those who were not free. We say take it out of that park, take down the plaque in the park. There is no contextualizing for what this is.
That's right, that's right.
You can put it in a private museum. We will not lose the history of these things. The other thing I want to make sure that you understand is the Daughters of the Confederacy were the ones that pushed forth the propaganda of the lost cause. They were the teachers. They were the ones who decided what textbooks all of us actually read in schools, especially in the South, and to this day, the propaganda goes on about the lost cause. When I say the lost cause, a lot of people may not understand. What I'm saying is the reason they lost, and that's what it is, the cause of the reason they lost, they're trying to say, is economy. Had to do with taxes. No, it didn't. It had to do with them losing their slaves, their property. Human trafficking was going on. Bondage was going on. These people were not the same as far as they were concerned. They were 3/5 of a human. Robert E. Lee spoke of this numerous times. Andrew Jackson decided that minorities, Native Americans, were okay to take children and actually go ahead and use them on his property. One of them that he actually adopted, he referred to as a pet. People will say, well, there was a monument, or I should say a headstone that was put up on the family plot. There was no markings. He thought of him as a pet, y'all. A lot of people go and bury their pets. But they did not treat him as a human being. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about the white supremacist attitudes that have been actually brought up within families for generations in this country. We need them to know the truth, because I do believe that once you know, you will do better. Once you know better, you will do better. We are the change. We do all want to come together, but until we actually acknowledge as white people the atrocities that have been committed against black people of color in this nation and other minorities, then we cannot move forward.
All right.
We are stuck here. So please, I know it's in you. I'm telling you the truth. Look it up. Do your research. Don't be a sheep. Don't just follow what they say. The people that want to keep us divided, the people who don't have money, that's what it's really all about.
That's right.
That's what slavery was all about. money and power.
Tell the mayor.
And they wanted to keep the money and power within the Anglo-Saxon community, patriarchal community as far as that goes. So I say, take the statue down.
All right.
Take the statue down. The women of the Southland does not represent us. Take the statue down. Take them down, Jax. Take them down, Jax. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. I want to say something to the press. When you all go back to your respective networks, I wish you would talk to your directors about actually doing a primetime piece on this struggle here in Jacksonville, whether it be taking down the statues, or renaming the schools, or challenging this city to change the names of these streets and bridges. Because I think, and we all know, during this past couple of weeks of canvassing to get people out to vote to change the names of these schools, we have discovered that people in this city don't even know that there's a vote going on. A lot of people don't even know that there's a call to change the names of these schools. And the networks have a responsibility to raise this issue in prime time a number of times a week so that people really understand what's going on. Our next speaker is a man who lost his son Jordan Davis was gunned down at a gas station for playing his music too loud. I think everybody remembers that case. And it took 2 trials to convict the person who did that. 2 trials to convict him of murder. Mr. Davis has devoted his life traveling around the world, helping, dealing with poverty, dealing with crime, and he's here today to speak on behalf of Take 'Em Down. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Wells, for having me. Thank you, Northside Coalition, for having me. They invited me yesterday to come out and speak with you today. I'm going to be brief. It's not my nature, but I will be. You know, many of the speakers here and around the country, you have to understand, people like me, we have skin in the game. Our children were killed by white supremacy. This man felt emboldened to shoot into a car full of African-American black kids because their music were too loud, because they were playing rap music. Statues that you see, like Andrew Jackson's statue, they embolden the white right. The people that think that they can tell you as a black person what to do and when to do it. The Karens of the world, as they call them. You know, and they look at the Jim Crow era and they grab onto the Jim Crow era. They want to be able to make their America great again. But it wasn't great for us. And they know it wasn't great for us. Until this day, they don't care whether it was great for us. And so when you see these monuments to that era, because that's when they were put up in the Jim Crow era, not after the Civil War, but in the Jim Crow era. White supremacists like Michael Dunn, who killed Jordan, they go by these statues and they feel like that day is still here. But I'm here to tell them that day is gone. And it will never be great again. It's a new era. It's not a black and white issue, it's a right and wrong issue. We tell white people of good faith, of good character, like you see up here, to join with us, to take them down. Take them down. Take them down. That's why we're here today. I don't want you, when you look at your screens, to say, there goes some Negroes again acting up. They always asking for something. The only thing we ask for is freedom and peace. And without freedom, there will be no peace. That's why we're here today. We see Leonard Fournette for the Jacksonville Jaguars at the time come in and stand with Mayor Curry on these very steps. And I was standing right over there. And he said, we're going to take them all down. We're going to take all the statues down. And they proceeded to take one statue down. I tell Mayor Curry, I respect Mayor Curry because they voted for him. The majority voted for him. I have to give him my respect, and I will do so. I don't have to agree with everything he does, but I will give him my respect. But to get my respect, you have to stick by your word, because your word is bond. And if you say you're going to take them down, then take them down. I want them down. Andrew Jackson should be the first one to go after my voice is spoken on every radio or TV station. You want to shut up Ron Davis? Take Andrew Jackson statue down. Thank you for having me. God bless you.